Hi everybody and welcome to our cook-along session. Today we're going to be making fried rice. We're going to begin with our spring onions. So you could use just a regular onion that could be rolling around in the bottom of your pantry. In this instance we've got some spring onions that we're going to chop up. So with our spring onions, I've got 4 spring onions today. As an alternative, sort of small, medium brown onion would be fine as well. So just chop the ends off, and then we're going to slice those spring onions fairly finely, and these are going to be sort of about ½ centimetre piece slices. And if you've got a child that's helping out in the kitchen, great to get them involved in the preparation of the vegetables. Some tips when you do have children in the kitchen is look for the child-friendly knives. So there are a range that you can order online or from sort of kitchenware stores, and giving them tasks that are easy to chop, like a spring onion is actually quite easy to chop, particularly with the children's knives, because it's a little bit softer and more able for those knives to chop through. And remind them that they've got to keep their fingers back. So holding the vegetables or whatever they're cutting like a claw, and then just chopping away, keeping their fingers out of the way. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my chopped up ingredients on a plate so they'll be ready to go once we turn the frying pan on. All right, now the other thing I'm going to do, because what's going to be cooking with our spring onions is garlic. So I've got 2 cloves of garlic here. And I've peeled that garlic. I'm going to chop the ends of that garlic and then pop that into the garlic crusher. I'm just going to crush that directly on top of the spring onions because they're going to be cooking together in the pan. Okay, so I've just got a regular carrot here, and you don't have to peel it, just give it a good wash under the sink. I'm going to top and tail that carrot, and then I want to cut it into fairly small pieces. So with this carrot, I'm going to first of all cut it lengthways, right? So I've got 2 pieces. Pop those pieces flat face down so it's easy to chop. So this might be more the adult chopping at this point. And then we're going to cut that carrot lengthways into long strips like that. All right. And then we're going to turn those strips around, so parallel long strips. We're going to turn those strips around and we're going to cut it crossways. So we're going to end up with little pieces of carrot like this. So all of the pieces in our fried rice are going to pretty much be the same size. So that's our carrot all chopped up nice and fine. If we chop it up nice and finely, it's going to cook quicker as well. Now I'm going to have a capsicum. So you could use celery as well. You could use different coloured capsicums. You could even use zucchini if you wanted to. I also really like broccoli stalks and broccoli chopped up finely in my fried rice. With a capsicum, if you're using a capsicum, a good way to chop up a capsicum is just to start with chopping in the base. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slice each side of the capsicum. And the idea there is to try to minimise disrupting the seeds in the centre of the capsicum too much. Okay. Oh, that last bit there. And then you'll find that most of the seeds are left intact in the core of the capsicum. So you can give that to the children to play with. They can do some artwork with it, or they can plant it in the garden and watch it, see if it sprouts. So now we've got our pieces of capsicum. We're just going to chop those up. And again, this is a really good task to offer children with a child-safe knife, because the knife will actually chop through the softer vegetables like capsicum quite well. So chopping up the capsicum, similar to the carrot, we're going to make strips, and then we're going to cut it crossways. So we've got similar sized pieces to the carrot. All right, so there's my capsicum all chopped up. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to whisk 2 eggs in a bowl. So crack those eggs into the bowl and grab the whisk. This is where having a little helping hand is going to be really handy. Whisking those eggs together, it's quite fun to watch and get involved. And children love whisking. Beautiful. Make sure they're really, really well whisked together. so that they'll cook really evenly when we turn on the pan. So I've got the frying pan on now, and you can use a bit of spray oil on the pan, or if you like, you can use just some regular sesame oil or olive oil as well. Give it a good spray. It's going to stop that egg from sticking to the pan. And then we're just going to pop that egg onto the hot pan, smear it all around so it covers the base. And it really doesn't take very long to cook at all. As you can see, the egg is on the base of the pan. Because I've given it a good spray of oil, it's not going to stick either. So it's basically like a big egg pancake that we're making at this point. And you don't need to flip it because it's actually going to cook all the way through. It's very quick cooking, this egg. And then what I'm going to do is actually going to just roll it upon itself, a bit like a crepe, rolling upon itself with the spatula. And that way it makes it easier to get out of the pan. Now what we need to do is just slice it. Another great activity for children with their child-safe knife, and it's a lovely soft food for them to slice. So make sure it cools down a bit before they get to slice it. We're just slicing that into sort of centimetre size slices. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it the other way as well. So we're going to end up with these little pieces of egg, and they're going to be added to our fried rice at the end. So I'm just going to put that aside on my plate as another ingredient as well. So that's all of our ingredients and our extra frozen vegetables that we're going to be having in our fried rice. Okay, so let's get cooking. So we're going to start off with our onion. So we're going to pop a little bit more oil in the pan. So what we're going to cook up first is our spring onions and garlic. So we'll pop that spring onions and garlic in the pan and give them a head start before everything else. All right, so they'll probably take about 2 or 3 minutes. We just want to get them softened. They don't have to cook all the way through or be browned or anything like that. Next, we're going to add our ingredients. So we're going to start off with some of the harder vegetables. So we've got our chopped up carrot, in that goes. And I'm also going to add the capsicum at the same time. So because they're chopped up nice and finely, they're not going to take very long to cook at all. If you had celery, zucchini, if you had some broccoli or broccoli stalks, work really well, you'll put them at this stage as well. So what I have with my frozen veggies is I've got a cup of frozen peas and a cup of frozen corn. Or you could do just 2 cups of corn and pea mix. You could also use tinned corn or tinned peas as well. So I'm going to pop my frozen veggies in next. So they don't take quite as long to cook. They just really need to be heated through. So I'm going to mix those in with the rest of the veggies. And what we're left with, or coming up with, is just this beautiful medley of colours. Stir fry those veggies until they're all heated through, and so that the carrot and the capsicum is softened as well. So if you're using just frozen vegetables in this dish, then you can get a mixture of a range of vegetables that could include carrot, capsicum, corn, peas, broccoli. Look for the veggies that are already chopped up, so it's going to save you time. It makes this dish even more convenient. And the frozen vegetables can be just as nutritious, if not more, than the fresh, particularly if those so-called fresh vegetables have been sitting in the bottom of your crisper for a while. Those nutrients do start to break down over time. Whereas the great thing about frozen vegetables is the nutrients are locked into place and they don't break down as easily in that frozen state. So it's now ready for the rice. So there's 2 types of rice or ways you could add the rice. So one of the options, if you're looking for something quick and easy, you can purchase these pre-cooked or par-cooked rice sachets. So the rice is actually already cooked and all you need to do is heat it up. And so this is a really, really convenient, simple way to throw together a fried rice dish to save you the hassle of having to pre-cook the rice in advance. However, if you do have plenty of rice in the pantry, And buying rice, it can be quite economical as well. So usually when you purchase these ones, they're a little bit more expensive because of the convenience of them. But if you had some rice in the cupboard, just cook up some rice like I've done today. So I've cooked up a bit of rice in the pot, and I've done it by absorption method. So what I've done is I've put 1 cup of dry rice into the pot with 2 cups of hot water. And then I've put that on the stove and raised it to a boil. And then I've turned it right down to low, to about 1 or 2, and then put the lid on so that it holds the heat, holds the steam, and allows all of that moisture to be collected by the rice, and it will cook by what we call absorption method. And then you've got roughly a couple of cups of cooked rice, 2 to 3 cups of cooked rice from that 1 cup of dry rice. So that's what I've done today, and I'm going to put that rice into my vegetables. So if you had some leftover rice from the night before, then it's good to use up that leftover rice in a fried rice dish. Just be mindful, if it is leftover rice, then you can't reheat it more than once. So essentially cooking that leftover rice, including what's in the rice sachets, because that is essentially being reheated, it is being heated again in this fried rice dish, which means any leftovers from this point would need to be discarded. However, if you cook the rice fresh, then you're not essentially reheating it. So you can then save portions of this fried rice to reheat on a later occasion. You could even freeze it and reheat it. So there's that sort of food safety benefit, I suppose, and opportunity to reheat the fried rice dish if you have prepared it from fresh cooked rice. If you want a quick meal and you're going to feed a family and you know they're going to eat it all, this is really handy. Now it's time to add a bit of flavour. So I'm going to be using just some soy sauce today. So I've got about 1.5 tablespoons or 1 to 2 tablespoons of the soy sauce. Now, be very careful not to overdo the soy sauce because it will really overpower the dish. And particularly if you're providing this to young children, they have a lot more taste buds than us, so they will taste it a lot more than we can. So better to go on the milder side rather than the more tasty side. You could play around with different flavours. You could use oyster sauce. You could put a bit of sweet chilli sauce in there as well. One more thing to add. So our cooked egg that we cooked previously, we're now going to put that through our fried rice and mix that in. So that's given it a nice bit of protein component in there. At this point, you could also put in some shredded pre-cooked chicken. You could also put in some tofu. Fried rice works really well with tofu. It's a fantastic meat alternative, and just is like, you want a firm tofu, so slice that tofu up nice and finely, like you did with the carrots and the capsicum, and then you put that tofu in pretty much at this stage when you put the egg in to mix through, capture all those flavours, and also heat through as well. And so there's our fried rice dish. Once you do all the prep, it all comes together really quickly. So some children will really be attracted to this, having the variety of different ingredients together, the colours. It's a beautiful looking dish. Other children may be less inclined to want to eat something that's all mixed up together. So they might decide they want to pick out bits and pieces. That's okay. They can pick out bits and pieces and they can just eat bits at a time if they want to. Whatever they feel comfortable with. It's really important that you let children sort of be a bit more in control as to what they choose to eat and how much they choose to eat as well. And our job is to offer those healthy options in a variety of ways and being patient as well. So hope you enjoy the dish, fried rice. Do check it out, the recipe on our website. Bye-bye.